All right. So this tutorial is to quickly show us how to use the rollover option on IQcent or race option. All right. So the first thing you want to do is when you refresh your browser or you refresh your broker, when you come on your broker, the first thing you want to do is make sure you minimize your screen if you are using a small screen. So all you just do is press Ctrl minus because when you log in, it's already on 100%. So you cannot see a larger frame of the market, of the graph itself, the movement of the market. So the first thing you want to do is Ctrl minus, make it 80% so you can see more space, then also zoom right out, like zoom out, the minus button, press the minus button. So now you can see a larger time frame. You can see from this point to this point because I clicked minus so I can see more. And I can see the whole screen. This is where my rollover option used to be. I can see the rollover option because it is now wide. I hope this is making sense. All right, so let's just do a test. For instance, let's say I take a trade for 3 minutes. This is to show you how rollover works. $1 to test. And I enter this trade for a call. Let's say I enter this trade for a call. Now, I'm in the trade. Market is coming down. I'm currently in profit because it pushed up. Now, I click the end, which is this button, this forward button, to show me the end of my trade. So now I can see the end of my trade. I'm in profit. So now, when I am not in profit and I am close to the end, when you enter a trade, right? When you enter a trade, divide the trade measure, which is from this point you entered to the expiration time. Divide it into 3 measures, into 3 bars. Always make sure you do that. When you enter a trade, divide the line, this green line, the line you see, either the red or the green line. If it's a put, it will be a red line. If it's a call, it will be a green line. Divide it into 3 measures. From here to here is one. From here to here is another one. So when it's getting to the end of my second measure, I take the roll. That's how to take roll. So you don't take roll now. I'm in profit, so I can't take a roll. If I'm in loss and I take this roll now, I'm wasting it, really. I'm wasting it. So now I can take a roll, but I won't take the roll now because I still have some time. So I wait for it to get to this point. When it gets somewhere here, almost to the end of the second measure, then I click the roll and it buys me exactly another 3 minutes. Can we see that? Let's try that. I need to meet somebody. I'm in profit, so I can't take a roll. So if it comes down somewhere here, remember you are dividing the measure into 3. Divide the measure into 3. So this is the measure. You enter the trade from here to here. I'm in profit, so I can't take roll, so it's okay. We'll do another example just to make you see. I'm in profit, market is already going up, so I don't think I would need to take roll on this. This is a walk-away trade already. So I would look at something else. But understand this, that you need to take 3, divide it into 3 measures. When you divide it into 3, now rollover will not work for me. Even if I come here, even if the market pushes down, I won't be able to roll over because rollover would have disappeared. Because the broker sees it that if you don't take the roll earlier, you've lost it. Don't worry, you've lost it. Can you see? I can't roll over. The option is not there. That's because it has crossed the third measure. You already entered into the 3rd measure. Does that make sense, guys? Now I can't roll over. But if it was somewhere here and it was down, I roll over and I would have that extended time. But some people roll over, once they just see they're not in profit, they just roll over. And that's, you're wasting the time because the rollover counts for a particular number of time. It gives you an additional 3 minutes. So that's basically how it works. Let me do this test again. Call. Now we'll take rollover. I believe this market wants to pull down. It's time for it to pull down. So let's watch it. If it comes down, you will see when I will take my rollover. And remember my rules. If you're on my team, if you join the HFX Arena and you're on my session, my rules are apt. You take 2 rolls before you let your trade go. And if you follow my rules, you will never lose a trade. My strategy works and it works. This morning session is 8 on 0. 8 on 0, no loss at all. But yes, the trade might need some time. That's why I don't advise pocket option for my session. You can trade with other educators session, another education session with pocket option. But my session, you need to use race option or IQcent that allows you rollover because it aligns with my strategy. So now, can you see we're in loss? So we have the rollover option ready for us. So I wouldn't take the roll now. Why? Because it will be like I'm wasting it. So I will wait for it to get here, get to the second point, which is here. So before it gets to this place, remember what you are doing is you are dividing this measure into 3 sessions. From here to here is 1. From here to here is 2. So before it gets to the 3rd session, I will take my roll. Do we get that, guys? It's a very simple thing to do. Simple practice. Can you see where it is now? It's here. Market is here. And I'm waiting for it to get here. So if this bar reaches this point, I take my roll. If it does not get to this point, I will wait for it until it gets here. But if it goes above this place, I won't be allowed to roll over again. Please, does this make sense, guys? Does it make sense? I'm waiting for it to roll. I'm waiting here. So what I do is I use my eyes to look at it. That's why you need to open the screen large, wide. Now I want to take my roll now. I want to take my roll. Now I've taken my roll. Can you see? I've taken my roll. So now if I will take my second roll, I will divide this whole measure into 3 again. From here to here is 1. From here to here is 1. So once it gets towards here, I will take my second roll. Guys, can you see? Can you see? Is it making sense? So always divide the broker into, I mean, the timing. When you enter the market for 3 minutes, divide it into 3 measures. When it's getting to the 3rd measure, you take your roll. Guys, this is just a tutorial to help you know how and when to take rollover. Because many people get spiked out before the time. And that is the reason why they take some lessons. Ideally, on my session, you shouldn't take lessons, except the market, except our analysis is not correct. Today, we have 8 completed analysis and 0 incomplete analysis. So our official score was 8-0, but somebody had 8-2. Why? Because he couldn't manage his rollover well and he lost 2 trades. So please, you need to understand this. Once you do understand this, once you do understand this, you'll be good with rollovers. Once you do understand this, you'll be good with rollover. Now let's see. We want to take a second roll. Divide it into 3 measures. From here to here is 1 measure. From here to here is 2 measures. So once it's getting to this point, I'll take another roll. And you will see I won't be spiked there. Rollover will not just spike me out. So guys, watch it, watch it. When it gets here, I'm taking my second roll. And if you notice that before I take my roll, I click on this, I click on that entry to reload that page. Before I take it, now I'm taking my second roll. And that's my strategy. That's how it works. You must take 2 rolls before you let the market go. Remember, we didn't do any analysis for this market, but just see how my rollover is playing out. Can you see? If I didn't take a first roll, this trade, I would have lost it before now. Now I have a likelihood of clearing this trade. There's a likelihood of clearing this trade because I'm still very much in the trade. But remember, on my session, my strategy, my rules, you take 2 rolls. You've taken the first rule, you've taken the second rule. Now market will end here. So if it ends here, if it gets here, and I mean, I'm not taking a 3rd rule, just 2 rolls. So if I take the first rule and I take the second rule and it's not clearing, that is it for me. But there's a likelihood of me clearing it because I have more time compared to when it was here where I had no time. Guys, can you see how it's playing out? Can you see how it's playing out? If it's making sense to you, please put sense in the chat. If this is making sense to you, put sense in the chat. Sheesh, that's how it works. If you follow my strategy, guys, you follow my rules, you wouldn't lose a trade. If you follow my rules, you wouldn't lose a trade. So that's basically how it works. Remember, we didn't do any analysis, no fundamental analysis, no technical analysis, but we just worked with the rollover. And you can see what is happening. See, you can take this as an additional confirmation. When a trade, using the Bollinger Band strategy, when a trade moves up and he hits the Bollinger Band, fundamentally it's supposed to come down, pull down, hit the Bollinger Band that is below before it pushes up again. That is what played out here. Here, market was up, it hit the Bollinger Band, it came down, it was consolidating, it pulled down. As he hit the Bollinger Band, he started pushing up again. He will push up, get to this point, he hit it again before it start coming down. It is just fundamental. So the rollover also helps you. If we are not taking our first rule, we have lost the trade. We took our first rule, we're not in profit. We took the second rule, and now we're in profit. If we're taking one rule, we might not have cleared. But we're not in profit and we took our second rule. And guys, that is it, playing out. No strategy here, no fundamental analysis, no technical analysis, just rollover. So the rollover is part of my rules. Once you understand this, guys, once you understand this, you don't have a problem. Once you understand this, you know how to roll over. Remember,
because I can see that you already
load your browser, you load your what's it called, your broker. The first thing you want to do is zoom out. Let your browser be on 80%, so you can see this ID, this particular ID. This is the trade we are on. So you can see how to roll over. You don't need to be scrolling up and down. You can see it at first glance on your screen. Then the second thing we do is you click this minus to zoom out so you can see a larger time frame. You can see the market from here to here, from this point to this point. If we are zoomed in like this, say we are zoomed in like this, for instance, you wouldn't see a larger time frame. So you wouldn't even know where your market is and when to roll over. But because I am zoomed out, I can see my line, I can see my green line, and I can know that, oh, I'm almost at the end of the trade. Oh, take your roll. Almost at the mid. Remember, we divide the measure into 3. 1, 2. So from here to here is 1. With your eyes, from here to here is 2. When you get to the third part, you take your roll. Guys, that's that trade cleared without anything, just the rollover method. Does this make sense, guys? If it does make sense to you, let me see some sense in the chat. So that's it, guys, for this training. That's all I want to do. Then now let's look at the market and see how we can earn some money as well. Let's look at the market and see how we can make some money. If you're excited about this, let me see some sheesh in the chat. Let me see some sheesh in the chat. We had 8-0 on the money session, officially 8-0. Now let's see what's happening again. So I'll go ahead to end the recording. This was for the purpose of teaching this. So I'll end the recording so we can just look at the market.